I ask this to every guest, and I want to know, this can go personal, professional, but if you were to look at your life and do like a Google Earth view of it, what would you say is the most on brand thing that you've ever done?
Yeah, so we did talk about this a little bit earlier, and I will say that, like, one of my faults is that I'm relentlessly on brand.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets me in trouble. But I think the most on brand thing that I've done up to this point is moving to Saskatchewan and
Hmm.
taking this job, and really with the goal of being like a queer person in the middle of nowhere.
Hmm.
And yeah, I think it is very on brand for me. I get to go on the country radio station and talk about like queer film screenings, and on this radio station that goes out into rural Saskatchewan. It's like that is so on brand for me.
That's
Like that just makes sense.
okay. Wait, so hold on. Wait, when did that happen?
This happened last summer. But
Okay.
I'm on the country radio station all the time promoting stuff at the art gallery. So like when we did a queer film screening, I was on there promoting queer film screenings. It's like when there's a queer artist and talking about their art on the radio station. It's just like it feels really special. It's like that's one of those things where it's like, of course I want to talk about queer art on the country radio station in rural Saskatchewan, but like I wouldn't have ever tried to,
But I'm
but it's
obsessed
just
with
like,
that.
yeah, me too. Me too. But yeah, I think that like kind of the move and what's come with it has
Mhm.
been one of the most on brand things I've ever done. And I think like you've known me for 7-ish years, and probably if somebody said one of your friends is going to move to rural Saskatchewan and like be doing queer art there,
Yeah, I
you'd be
mean,
like,
duh.
yeah, it's Luke.
It's
Duh.
Luke for
Like,
sure.
who the fuck else would it be? Like, who else is going to do that?
But I love it. And think about it, like going back to what we talked about impact,
Mhm.
not to sound cheese and whatever, but you have no idea, who is listening to those radio shows and who would hear your voice
My gay
speak.
little voice, yeah.
I didn't even mean that,
No, but it's true. It's like I
yes,
I have a gay voice, and like
yeah,
when I'm on the radio, I'm using my gay voice,
yeah.
and it's going into like farmers' tractors while they're farming, like in rural Saskatchewan. But yeah, it is like who is hearing it, and like I grew up in rural Saskatchewan as like a little queer boy who didn't know any queer people, didn't
Mhm.
have, there was like no visibly queer people that were out that I knew of growing up. And I look back and go like, yeah, like seeing one visibly out queer person who is like not ashamed or like just like didn't give a fuck
Yeah,
would have been a game changer for me,
yeah.
to just be like, yeah, maybe that's not who I'm going to be, but like that is a person that exists. And like I can be a person that exists too, whether it's like that or not. But I think in a lot of ways, I maybe a little bit more out there and extreme in my queerness than a lot of people, especially a lot of people in more rural areas. But
Mhm.
I think like the bigger I am in that sense, like the more space I'm creating. So
Yeah.
whether somebody wants to exist on the fringe of what I'm doing in like a more extreme way, they can, but like if they want to exist in the center, like I'm making that space and they can kind of exist wherever they want. And
Yeah.
so it feels kind of special to it's so as I'm saying it out loud, it's so stupid, but like it feels really special to be a queer person in a rural place.
Yeah.
Like it feels really special to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know what kind of impact I'm making. Maybe like all the queer people are like, don't want to be like him. Like who
And
knows?
that's fine. And
But
that's totally
and that's
fine.
and that's fine. But like at the end of the day, I just want to have a life that I like. And I'm wherever I am, whether it's in rural Saskatchewan or in southwestern Ontario or in northern Alberta, I am gonna live a life that like gives me pleasure and satisfaction, and I'm going to make an environment where that's possible for me.
Yeah. And you're doing it in a way that is not detrimental to other people. Like you're actually
Oh
it's a
yeah.
positive, you know what I mean? But like
Yeah.
think about it. You're going back to like this, selfish decisions or whatever how people
Hmm.
selfish directions in
Yeah.
their art. But like you're doing something that is anyway, I'm going to blow a little smoke, but like I'm just very like appreciative of what you're doing, even though I'm not directly affected by it. And I think that it's, like you said, very on brand for your approach to how you put your message out to the world, whatever that is.
Hmm.
And so keep doing it, girl. Like I'm very proud of you.